Ing.
Do. Leah, I'm very happy to see you this morning. I'm hoping that you and Lindsay can. Um, I wish I could say I'm wishing you can dispel rumors, but I'm sensing that the word from Washington is kind of getting bleak in regards to work training monies. So maybe at some point in the agenda, while we don't have it tied up here, if you could react and give us perspective on how we are needing to work better together. I'm sensing, you know what I mean, and not just rely on one thing or another. We would love to hear. I know I would. I'd like to hear what's going on and how we can support what's going on within labor in your world as we move forward with this project.
Pat, I can tell you what I know. Now
Right.
I do have to leave at 9:30 because I have an in-person meeting I have to be at 10.
I have
Well,
to leave at
then
9:30
Brandy,
as well.
maybe we can break protocol and allow Lee to give us his perspective. I NIATEP has had a bunch of things going on lately that have been helping to listen to what's happening in the regions, but uh, I had an opportunity to meet with the VR leadership, and they were talking about pending, not immediate, not absolutes, but enough that they're concerned. So I wondered what labor's been up to. So if that's okay with you, Brandy, we'll once we get this party started here, maybe we can ask Lee to just share what's going on so we all are on the same page and working better together as we deal with the fun stuff that's coming our way as a state.
Absolutely. I'm fine with that. And in the interest of time, welcome. Welcome everybody to our apprenticeship, Advanced to Apprenticeship Rochester Advisory Committee meeting for June. Um, here's the welcome. Thank you for joining us. So I love that, Pat. We can jump right in before we do our updates on the project and kind of get thoughts from our advisors. We
Right,
can start right
exactly, because
there.
it's a new world than it was 3 months ago, and we're all going to be working in the next 3 months and beyond that in a potentially in a different way. So leadership from the labor side of this is really going to be key to, I think, how we all interwork and work better together. So Lee, we're going to take, I put you on the spot, but I know that you're up for it. So if you'd be kind enough to share with this crew if they, what's going on in the world of labor and what do we need to be ready for as we continue to finish this project here?
Okay. Well, yeah, I don't know that I'm really up to it, but
Well,
I can kind
just
of give you
even if
the
it's just Boo, even if it's just your sense and sensibility about, you're running a program. You have Rochester Works is a large center that is involved in a lot of different things, and we tend to with this report just talk about what our project is doing, but it's our project. This project's not going to be functional and practical and sustainable if we don't understand all the other things that are happening at this point in time. So I had no idea you had a 9:30 stop, but I'm glad I opened my mouth and asked you to just give us what's the skinny from the Rochester Works perspective on the world of work and labor these days that we all need to be ready for or thinking about at the very least, not ready for it, but thinking about.
yeah. So uh, it kind of depends on the program at this point.
Okay.
So the administration has taken some actions with executive orders or through the different departments that have um, had a disruptive impact on different programs. So, for example, Job Corps has effectively been closed down.
Right.
Um, there's also a proposal to move CTE from the Education Department to Department of Labor. That could be disruptive, will be disruptive. And that's all part of the administration's push to shut down the Department of Education. Uh, I thought I remembered hearing something similar about voc rehab, but at any rate, in terms of funding, so you've got this what they're calling the Big Beautiful Bill.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, it as far as I understand, and I could be wrong on this, it doesn't have much of an effect on discretionary spending.
Right. That's what I heard too, that
So
discretionary that they haven't quite figured out what to do with the discretionary dollars
yeah,
re
so the
process.
impact will be on students though, not on programs, because
Hmm.
if they're no longer able to qualify for SNAP benefits, for example, if somehow New York State can't manage it so that they can have health insurance, that's going to impact their ability to be in programs to go into training. The big question marks with spending for all of the programs is in the federal spending bill that I don't know where the Senate is with this bill, and a lot seems to depend on what action the Senate takes, what version of the president's spending bill they want to they want to advance. The administration had proposed a major consolidation of workforce programs, which would cut a lot of funding out. And now it won't make us disappear, but if they do block grant it to states, that could be very disruptive as well. And what it means is less money to go around for years and years to come. But it hasn't happened yet. We don't know what's going to happen in the Senate. Typically, workforce programs have been bipartisan programs and have enjoyed popularity on both sides of the aisle. But that's kind of a general feeling or statement. It's so nobody's ideologically against workforce programs,
Right.
although there are some that question the outcomes and how much or where the money should be going. Now,
Right.
on the positive side for anything apprenticeship,
Right.
uh, it looks like there's a lot of support for apprenticeship and funding apprenticeships. I wish I could say the same for pre-apprenticeship. I don't know if they really get that.
I think your point that I'm pulling from this too is that, and it's a general theme, is that um, the language in the bills or anything is about supporting workforce development. But as you pointed out, if someone doesn't have health insurance because their wages are not at a place or their business doesn't offer them health insurance, then they might not be able to work because of things that are happening. So it's this the big picture looks good, but then when you really look at who are the people eligible and ready to be a part of that workforce, what's the other stuff that's happening to them that is getting in their way? And we've seen that in some of the students that have come through A2A, if they don't have wraparound supports, and it's why A2A and Rosie's and other programs, direct entry in itself is talking about how to build that individual's capacity to understand the whole picture. If those things aren't there for them, they may not be as successful. I mean, the VR supports that we get for students, that all that kind of stuff is, if that starts to diminish or go in a different direction, we're going to have to retool the way we talk to each other and work with each other, is what I think is coming down in the next 6 to 9 months for sure. So
Yeah, and I wouldn't panic about health insurance yet because we do live in New York, and here we're more likely to have the state step in and fill in some gaps.
mhm.
I would be more not immediately, but more you know more quickly concerned about what might happen with SNAP.
Snap. Okay, that's good to know. Um, Leadership at VR, you brought up the VR piece. There has been talk about no funding for intensive supported employment services, which is the front end piece of that. And I see friends Jennifer and others from VR, but Ceylon Myers Ruff very clearly said that the state stands behind that service and that they will be doing whatever they need to do to make sure that that is a service that continues in New York. So just as you said, Lee, don't panic. We hear all these things and we're trying to put it all together, but so are the people that are in charge of it. So that's the good news to give to you, is like, here's the picture, but here's how New York is working to paint it so that it can continue. And I think I wanted to definitely, with this agenda being as full and good as it is, give you some hope on the federal side too, that New York is not panicking. New York is working through this, that leadership are working together. They also talked at the VR level about how they're working with the other state agencies that support people with all differing kinds of abilities, and more power to them to be collaborative in that way. So I think while it's the unknown is scary, and indeed there is talk and there has been things happening on the House side, the Senate has not finished and Congress is stepping up and saying no. So we'll just have to wait and see. It's a wait and see game as we go. But I wanted to let you guys know at your level, if you've not heard, that the leadership at the state agencies are indeed talking to each other, working through the Chief Disability Office as well to figure out what's going to be best for New Yorkers. So that's the good news to report from the federal scene. Thank you, Lee, for the impromptu, put you on the spot. You did good job. Thank you very much for helping me see that. So and the rest of us. Any questions from anybody? Any other thoughts that you've heard that you want to share to add to what Lee and I have just kind of prepped with this federal scene? Okay, cool. So Center for Workforce Development has been very, very busy, very, very, very busy. And Sean is on with us too. So if Brandy and Shauna could showcase a little bit of what's been going on in your worlds, that would be awesome.
Would you like to start, Brandy?
Yes.
Okay.
Looking for, okay, here we go. I'm like,
Okay.
where's the turn button? Here we are. Yes, thank you, Pat, for that. And thank you, everyone, for being here today. Yes, our partnership with Center for Workforce Development began in fall of 2023. Well, really before that, right? And we were able to get our first student enrolled in spring of 2024. And we are in our last year of our grant with the Center for Workforce, with the Council for Developmental Disabilities. I got all the letters in front of me. And so with that, there is going to be some more information about the transition. But right now, we are continuing with Center for Workforce Development with those existive courses, helping with the inclusive recruitment for welding and machining fundamentals, as well as what we were calling manufacturing technician. But there's been some course updates at the Center for Workforce Development, and the course is now manufacturing process technology to align with careers that use machines and equipment for automation operations as a team approach with the help of industrial technicians who are actually the people who build the machine. So making sure that the coursework that's being offered at Center for Workforce Development aligns with the careers that are open and available for upskilling our people that we support. Yeah. So higher education is there because that's what CWD is always all about. And there actually is some new programs that are being introduced this fall as well, which is very exciting to see the growth in Center for Workforce Development. So for all courses, we'll begin in September and go through January. And we already have a student who is enrolled in welding with A2A supports. They also are supported by Access VR and are working with a very supportive employer who is actually helping to front the bill for their tuition for the Center for Workforce Development this fall. So we're very excited for them. They have a plan ahead of them to start with welding and then do machining in the next semester. They are definitely seeing the benefit of stacking those trades and training and being as marketable as possible, not only for their current employer, but for future opportunities as well. We were able to offer those preview days earlier in this year. And from that, it led to some of our potential students going to the very successful open house that Center for Workforce Development had. There were about 75 plus diverse potential candidates who came through to see all of the adult training programs that are offered. And they took advantage of touring and learning about tuition assistance potentially offered through Rochester Works, as well as being able to connect with Lindsay Murphy, who thanks for being here today, is our disability resource coordinator, to offer that additional employment resource support. The next open house will be scheduled in October for spring 2026 enrollment. It feels so weird to say 2026. It's coming though. So at Center for Workforce Development in April, on April 1st to be exact, the trade up event that we talked about was coming in our last meeting in March happened. And there were about 100 high school students, their families, and some adults with disabilities that were able to learn about opportunities in the skilled trades directly from the people doing the work. The panel for the trade up event was led by the Rochester Chamber of Commerce. And shout out to RTMA. I know Carrie's still on maternity leave, but she was there to represent for Rochester Technology and Manufacturing Association. And there were also businesses there within construction, manufacturing, of course, healthcare, and local government, which personally I thought was awesome for the students to be able to learn about, the potential students to learn about civil service roles and how vast they are, and how working for the government isn't just being a politician. It's all of those facilities and community works and being able to use manufacturing skills within a government position. Like, let's keep this thing rolling. So that was a really good time. And I'm excited to announce that because of the successful turnout, there will be another trade up event. I think Shauna, you're looking at holding it annually next
Yeah.
April.
Yeah.
Yes, so April 9th. So if you have young ones yourself, you can think about it, or people you know, it will be coming back around in the Rochester area. So ensuring that the Center for Workforce Development continues with those in-demand higher education. The new training programs that have been added include building maintenance, bus and heavy equipment maintenance, as well as registered dental assistant. So it's a very robust program with over how many programs you have now, Shauna?
Oh, let's see. 13. Am I right,
13.
Lori?
Yep, different options.
Sounds good to me.
There's
so many, and I don't manage them all. So I'm managing 10 or maybe 11. Yeah, 13.
So great, like our focus for advanced tool apprenticeship has been manufacturing, but I wanted to put the plug in for Center for Workforce Development all the way through, because as we are transitioning, the program is now under MACNY's leadership, and in the fall, we will be looking to RTMA for their support with helping to build up the Rochester Community College advanced to apprenticeship entity, as well as expanding across the state, which we'll talk more about. But Center for Workforce Development isn't going anywhere. They are still here, and they still have a lot of great resources and training programs to offer. And with that being said, Shauna, if you want to take the next slide about Career Launch.
And I think the other part of that is we still have a partnership. So that
Yes, we do.
that relationship and partnership doesn't end just because it's transitioning into the community college. But we were able to, so Career Launch is a program that we're looking to start, and that was inspired by the A2A model. at Mohawk Valley Community College, and it's a program that's under development right now. We're accepted as an Access VR vendor for pre-app services, so we will be able to incorporate that into this career launch program. And really, we also applied for another grant for the Department of Labor, for to upskill out of school youth. And so we are waiting to hear on that one still. We haven't heard about that one. But the intent of Career Launch is really to give someone pre-career training. So it's going to be an introductory level type of class, and we'll get them some of the prerequisite skills that they need and some of the certifications that the students need. And then hopefully they can choose then, they're going to be exposed to the skilled trades in both manufacturing and construction. And hopefully, after the career launch class, they would be able to choose a class to continue their education and further their education in one of those two areas, either in manufacturing or in the construction skilled trades. We've also become an ACT Work Keys testing site, and we have. So that will allow students to be able to achieve a national career readiness certificate called the NCRC. And we are going to be both opening that up to the public, so as a testing site to the public, and we're hoping to make that low to no cost to the general public, but we're also going to be incorporating those assessments into many of our programs. And Career Launch is one of those programs. So we're planning on incorporating Work Keys assessments into this course. And this way, the Work Keys assessments basically tells you if you have the cognitive academic foundation skills to be prepared for like 22,000 different occupations that are aligned in ONET. And so what we plan to do is fill any academic gaps with the curriculum around Work Keys to help someone get more prepared and ready academically for the courses that they're entering, or the fields that they're entering or that they plan on entering.
Shauna, when you
Yeah.
say,
Mhm.
this is Pat, Shauna, when
Yeah.
you say open to the public, are you meaning that businesses could actually call you and have somebody on their work? I mean, what does that mean, open to the public?
Yeah,
Because I
so
thought forgive me, I thought you were.
well, what I mean is the Work Keys testing specifically, we're looking at opening up to the public so that we have like Saturday sessions that anyone can sign up for.
Oh, okay.
We've had just people who don't want to take that as part of a program,
Gotcha.
but just want to take the assessments, reaching out to us. So we plan on opening up to the public. That's what I kind of mean, where they can sign up just to take the assessments, not as part of a program.
Understood.
But we
Understood. So
also plan on.
it doesn't, it can literally be, hey, I want to learn where I'm at, what I can do, which it resonates with me having a son that is
Yes.
on the spectrum, and he has been working with VR. They've been trying to figure out what he wants to do, what he can do, what he's interested in doing. The potential is there that this tool could actually be something that just is looking at assessing what he's doing or not doing. Got it. Okay.
Yep. And then we also there was an educator summit that we hosted on April 24th. We had 120 educators, business and industry community members that attended that event. From that, we had, I think, 13 districts that were interested in piloting Work Keys assessments in their schools. We received Monroe County funding and ESL funding to be able to offer that piloting for free for the next school year. So we're going to be, that's going to be a big focus of our work. So we're really trying to, we focus at CWD, we focus on adult education. That's been our major focus. But what we're hoping to do, workforce development, as we know, everyone on this call knows, workforce development is not just for adults. It's for K-12 through adulthood. And we have to start K-12. So we know, we feel like at, Monroe Two Boces and the Center for Workforce Development that we're very well positioned to be a bridge between K-12 and post-secondary and the workforce. So we are focusing some more of our energies and efforts onto, working with our partners at the K-12 level in our districts to help students start thinking about career readiness and career pathways, at a younger age. We offer summer camps for middle school students. So, we're really looking at broadening our reach. And like I said, being that bridge between K-12 and post-secondary. We also, just so you know, on July 24th, it must be something with the 24th. I think the 24th is a lucky day. But on July 24th, Adam Bello and Mayor Evans are doing a ribbon cutting with the Chamber of Commerce at Greece Central School District at a community schools event. And that is basically saying that, our county, our Monroe County and Genesee counties are working towards the achievement of having a work-ready community, certified work-ready community, which basically means that there are a certain number, like we have to meet data metrics of how many NCRC holders we have in the community in Monroe County and Genesee County.
Nice.
So that is something that is happening in July. So there is a lot happening.
Wow. Congratulations.
Thank
And
you for that.
Brandy, you did a beautiful job summarizing. That was beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you for that feedback. So yes, there's a lot going on, but all great things towards continuing to advance our people, right? Starting with K-12, moving all the way throughout adulthood, making sure that opportunities are offered. And along that, we have been doing presentations as we always do, right? Making sure that the word is getting out there, that people not only know about the program, but know the principles and what it's about and are looking for ways to do more where they are. So SCDD, the Strong Center for Developmental Disabilities, in partnership with Access VR business representatives. We have Jen Geiger, who's here with us today from the Rochester area. And we also worked with Ashley from the Utica area to put on a two-part series for unlocking greater potential in your workforce geared to businesses. We were able, this series was hosted by MACNY, and we were able to invite RTMA to be a part of it, or anyone that they were able to invite. And the first part was in February, and the second part was in April. And we were able to talk about identifying that untapped workforce and debunking those myths, as well as discovering the plethora of resources that already exist and how businesses can pull them into their company. We also talked about enhancing recruitment and maximizing retention of the untapped talent. So now that you've got someone in the door, how do you keep them there? As well as looking into their incumbent workers and making sure that those accommodations and universal design for learning is across the board, regardless of if you can see a disability or if it's invisible. Like, just making sure you have that supportive, welcoming environment for everyone. Some of the businesses who were a part of the training included Briar Dairy, as well as Endium. We also had some feedback. Our first part, we had about 10 people who attended the training, but no one did our post-eval, unfortunately. But in the second part, there were 12 people attended, and out of the few people who did our post-eval, they all rated it excellent. So we were happy that people were able to leave with some information for them. We gave them tons of tools from Jan, the Job Accommodation Network, I'm sorry, my screen started popping. Okay. Think people are leaving and stuff, but that's all good. So our next piece is conference proposal planning. So we are looking at.
Brandy, can I ask you a question though? Brandy, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
That those trainings, they were recorded. So if advisory members wanted to access them or use them as a resource themselves to send out to people that they work with, is that potential there, or am I over?
Yes, if they contact me, I can work with MACNY to get those recordings out as needed. I'm not sure because it's on their system how smooth that is, but we can definitely look into it if anyone wanted those recordings. But I think I'm talking for me and Jen, could do a presentation for you too. So if you wanted it at your business or wanted a business to be involved with learning more about how to be an inclusive partner, just let us know. And we can
No, Brandy, I like that.
a presentation directly for that business too.
Yeah, no, Brandy, I like that. Because yes, it is recorded, but I find it's more valuable if we are able to, go to a business location. Like for example, Lindsay and we are going to a business tomorrow, and this is their second series that we're doing a presentation. So, when we can be in person or face to face, or even if it is on Zoom, but sort of that live time, I feel that that's a better connection, for people more on a live stream as opposed to just listening to a recorded webinar format.
Yeah, we are back to being in person in so many more ways. We're getting a little lazy using Zoom too much, I think. Personally, I've been making direct phone calls lately, and people are like, "Oh, it's so nice to get a phone call." So don't forget our roots here, guys. But we were face to face at one point, and we can still do that. So cool. All right. So just making a connect to you guys will make the difference. That's right. Okay. And then conference proposal planning. We are indeed up for making sure that this year's dream event, as well as the October NIATEP event, is going to have our proposals. We don't know whether or not we'll be accepted or not, because we want to give the updates and make sure that we are keeping as many people informed about what has happened both in Mohawk Valley and the Rochester region. And then certainly that's CANNY is the continuing education, adult education group. And we made a presentation last November, and we're hoping to again get in front of those community college educators, especially now that the project is moving in that direction to work with community colleges as the lead educators for the process of what's going to happen under A2A. If any of you know of other events that are going on that could and should have some information about what it is we've been doing with A2A, please let Brandy, myself, and or Colleen know about what's going on, and we'll be happy to get something out to to be considered as a proposal. We also have had you heard about this a little bit. We have a statewide collaborative for accessible apprenticeships. It's an entity that we developed under the project in order to find like-minded organizations that were also supporting accessible apprenticeships. We are going to have a meeting coming up in August, and then one more 6 months later, in order to kind of fine tune what we've been all doing, and then also figure out, once the project ends, where do we go? How do we keep these like-minded entities together? Again, many and most of them are working with community colleges, so it fits into the MACNY model. And we'll be looking forward to getting ideas and resources together to be able to share as a final product deliverable, if nothing else, to make sure that everybody knows where all the resources are, not just A2A and Real Life Rosies, but indeed with other apprenticeship opportunities that are happening and connected to different entities at this point in time. A2A evaluation of year 4, that's you, Brandy.
Yeah, so we are working with our external evaluator, making sure that all of the happenings that occurred in year 4 are able to, reflect on them and demonstrate what we've learned in some of the areas that, that were successful, as well as some of those challenges. The great part about this pre-apprenticeship opportunity through Advanced to Apprenticeship is the evolution. Like, we have continued to develop and add and pull away the things that make sense to continue to make this program as robust as possible and beneficial and valuable across all of the areas that we are going to expand into. So, Pat, sustainability and expansion.
Yeah, one of the things that I also would like to reinforce to you all as you've listened to us over the course of this many years, 4 years already, is the fact that we started from nothing. And now when you see these slides and you look at all the things that we've created together, it's pretty amazing. As someone that's been doing this for over 30 years, to watch a project come from nothing other than a thought and a promise of creating opportunities and accessibility to get to where we are now is pretty freaking amazing, I have to say. I would also love to remind you all, as advisors, we will probably, most likely, you can anticipate, or they say it that way, that we'll be reaching out to ask you, did this advisory experience help make the project work? Did you feel like you were engaged in a way that made sense? Too often, I think, projects, in order to win a grant, say, oh, we're going to have advisors, and then they're not quite sure what they're going to use them for. So you're all leaders in your own right in what you do in your organizations, in our state system, in our local system. When you get that call for feedback, don't be afraid to criticize us. Don't be afraid to tell us what did work and didn't work. We really need to let the funders know that, advisory teams are important for these reasons, and they should be delivering these kinds of things. If we hit the mark, great. If we didn't, and you have recommendations for what a future project might need, it'll only enhance what we get as the outcomes. For you to be honest to us about what could have been done differently in an improved way. We met these challenges. We didn't quite make it. Please feel free to give us that feedback, because we're not afraid to report it that way. We want systems to be improved from all of this. So we feel that that's a good piece of our sustainability process, is to leave a positive mark on saying we met the mark in this situation. We're still working on these kinds of things, and we look forward to doing it better and differently in another time, based on feedback that we got from our advisors. And we have 3 advisory groups. Remember, we have one here in the Rochester region. We have also the one in the Mohawk Valley. And then we are meeting with state agency partners who quite often listen and don't give us any kind of feedback. So we're looking forward to seeing if they'll actually be honest with us. So we encourage you to tell us a little bit more about that. But these are the expansion opportunities that we're working with MACNY. We will be headed to work with all of the Manufacturing Alliance partners. I did see Colleen on a little bit. I don't know, Kyle, if you're still, you're there. I don't know if you want to briefly give an update. I don't know the most recent. We're targeting to get moving this fall to 3 regions or 4 regions, which include Rochester. So when Shauna earlier was saying moving to the community college, indeed, RTMA and the Monroe Community College will be taking on the new A2A apprenticeship, pre-apprenticeship process for us. And coming soon to other parts of the state, we'll be working with the Alliance members, the same opportunity to run our model the way we've been working to get it up and running in Mohawk Valley at this point. So questions, thoughts, reactions to what might or might not be? I mean, you are the people that make it happen. I see Rich is on. Rich, is there anything you'd like to share for the rest of the advisors about what you're gearing up, getting ready for this great opportunity that's coming to your region?
No, I just want to point out, want to thank everyone for all their participation throughout the years. I know Jen has always been referring people to our programs. I think I might have we had 1 or 2 of her folks in our precision measurement course earlier this year, which was great. One of those folks, I believe, is taking our summer pre-apprenticeship program.
Nice.
Tennessee County. So I know for in MCC, GCC areas. We're very excited to, get the ball rolling. I've been working with Colleen. I think she's still on the Zoom today here. Colleen out of Mackey. And I know she's been working with us, kind of get the ball rolling as we expand this and the Real Life Rosies program. And then probably going to end up adding to the RTMA, adding a resource with this too that will literally specifically go on these types of programs with us, considering a lot of the training we're doing is taking up a lot of time, which is good because it's getting more people in. But we're excited. We're excited for the challenge, and we're excited to continue to grow Advanced to Apprenticeship and other programs. And we're looking forward to still, being involved with everyone in the virtual room here, and including those who had to leave already. But we're excited. We're excited to get going and, really put the pedal to the metal, for so to speak, on this.
Well, as it comes to Rochester, there'll still be the opportunity until till March of next year, right, Brandy? So if being able to use this advisory capacity to initiate whatever it is, don't hesitate. That's not, that could be, you can share the spotlight with Shauna around what we're doing with CWD, and then what's happening with the expansion of A2A. This will definitely be, Brandy and I'll be happy to, create the agenda with you to make sure that this advisory team is getting to know everything that you need them to know, and to, get the word out that you recruit, the next cohorts, all that kind of information. Just know that you don't have to create one. We can use this one to get you ready, get the ball rolling. So just let
I learned a long time ago never to recreate the wheel, and the wheels already work. So
good. So we look forward to then. In a sustainability step, we look forward to meeting with you at your convenience to talk about what you would want this advisory meeting to look like, and to be a part of what you're expecting to have happen in the region. Just let us know.
Will do.
Okay, cool.
And along the training wheel that we're talking about is the Universal Design for Learning. We are working with some reps in our state and the SUNY system to see about a statewide UDL curriculum for adult learners, for our instructors of adult learners, whether it's on the BOCE or community college side, having that additional resource. We currently have our UDL library available as a resource for asynchronous learning for instructors through our Strong Center for Developmental Disabilities website. But it's quick bites, right? It's asynchronous, meant to be watched in that small time frame, to just whet the palate about the different concepts of universal learning design. And we recognize that and want to ensure that we can have a more robust curriculum to offer instructors as well. So that is in development.
Brandy and I are going to meet next week with one of upper leadership in labor to look at their teacher ambassador program that they have in place, to see whether or not how it can or does already perhaps fit to the concept of universal design learning. They are very interested in meeting and understanding more about A2A and what MACNY and CWD and the whole project has been working on, to see, again, like Rich just said, let's not recreate the wheel. If it already happens and it's doing well, and we just need to teach people a little bit more about what we've been up to enhance the ability for instructors in order to be engaged in that program itself, all the better. This is what's going to happen. The reality, we don't know what federal dollars will come to New York. Yes, New York is in a place that it can do some different things from other states, but bottom line is we've got to work better together. And that's going to be key. So we are making the commitment under the sustainability and expansion process to find partners that are engaged in similar activities, are doing good things, but maybe our program or theirs could be enhanced if we actually became partners with them. And that's the experience that we're going to go into this last year with, is understanding that partnership is valued and it can make a difference. And that's what we'll be doing.
Thanks, Pat. So the last piece that I want to make sure that I bring up is about our workforce specialists and those folks who are going to be working directly with each of the regions for the pre-apprenticeship opportunities. We've had the opportunity to meet with some of the current workforce development specialists through MACNY and learn more about what they would like to learn more about, right? So working with the diverse population, especially getting into being with people who have intellectual and developmental disabilities and other invisible disabilities that may exist. We wanted to know, we had some ideas, but we wanted to know, what do you want to know more about? And some of those themes that came out were definitely about the neurodiversity and sensory basics, learning about that strength-based philosophy when you are meeting someone and recruiting them, but then also following them through the work development process into apprenticeship, as well as disability disclosure and much more. So another development that we're under is creating a training tool for the workforce development specialists as they continue to pop up across the state during our expansion, and looking into those resources that already exist so that we're not recreating the wheel, but we are helping to bring them all together to make us roll as best as possible. So that was
So
really
again, we'll reach, right? Brandy will reach out to each of you in the roles that you have in your organizations. If you feel that listening to what Brandy just said, you've got a link that you can share with us, or you perhaps are doing some kind of training or participated in some other, a professional development opportunity that we may not be aware of, please send it Brandy's way so that she can add it to our UDL library, perhaps even, I mean, there's ways to take all of this great information. Somebody recently told me that she wanted to write a book, and she was going to write the book because she wanted to be someone of influence. And I said, books are great, but only if they present information that people want to read about. So we need to make sure that what we're putting together and we're having as a resource will make the difference. So if you've had that positive experience, who better than to be one of our advisors telling us this makes sense, or ooh, stay away from this one. This one didn't really do anything for us, or as Brandy just suggested, this one is based on bits and pieces, and you need to be able to know the background to get that. So we want to make sure that what we're putting together are useful tools, not just a list that you have to then sort through, because that's a waste of time. We have the time and we have the talent to be able to work with you all to give us the right things for the next generation that's going to look at this moving down. Okie dokie. Questions, comments, things that you want to brag about that are happening in your world that for the rest of the team in Rochester? Jen, you shared a few things. Shauna, you got to highlight, but everybody else, Rich was there. Lindsay, anything cool happening in the DRC world that the Rochester?
We had to jump off.
Oh, she jumped off. I missed her.
Yeah, Lindsay and Lee did.
Oh, okay. Okay. If there's no questions, if we covered it all, cool. If we missed something, you know where we are. We'll be back to you in a couple months, and
September 17th.
Yeah. Okay. And we'll be, but in between, if something comes up and you think that it warrants people learning and knowing about A2A and the work that is also happening at CWD, we would be excited to join a panel, make a presentation, just meet face to face, as Jen is encouraging us to come back to live, not live streaming, but live bodies in a room to talk to each other. WDI, Workforce Development Institute, had a training program, a training day for their staff. WDI is the Workforce Development Institute, and we were able to, with the project, get some funding for our original design of universal design learning for the instructors. They invited myself to be a part of that panel on neurodiversity. It was so exciting to be in a room full of people who are wanting diversity and accessibility for people with all different kinds of talents. They're committed to that. They're not walking away from that. So if you've had any experience at all with your regional WDI program, reach out to them again, because they're ready to work with businesses to create accessible workforce opportunities for people. They are an amazing group of people who do take their job and their designs seriously. So I really encourage, if you've never touched their world, consider looking at it, because they're ready to go. They're working hard. And they got money. So they might be able to fund something that you have not thought about before, and they're open to a conversation. So that's a little plug, a commercial for WDI. They just impressed the heck out of me that moment in time that I got to spend with them, which was about 2 hours. Everybody that was in the room was sincerely about building a stronger workforce for New York that is diverse and complemented with all different kinds of talents. Okay. Brandy, anything? Parting words?
Thank you for joining us today.
And we look forward to your feedback always. Don't
Absolutely.
hesitate. Okay.
Enjoy
right.
your summer, everyone.
Yes.
Thank
Yeah,
you
thank
all.
Thank you all.
Stay cool.
Bye. All right.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.